Hi, I'm Courtney from womenlivingwell.org, and today I want to talk about disciplining our children and how to have an effective timeout. And I'm reminded of God giving a divine timeout to Jonah, where he gave him 3 days in the belly of a whale because he was disobeying. And so after those 3 days, obviously Jonah, he was ready to obey God. And so in the same way, we as parents are to lovingly train our children to obey. That is our job in Ephesians. It says, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother. And so it is our job to teach our children to obey us. But first, the number one thing we need to do to be sure our timeouts are effective is that we need to be praying. We need to be praying for ourselves as parents, that God would give us wisdom. And we need to be praying for our children, that they would have tender hearts that would receive God's instruction, and that they would have convictions, that they would follow their conscience. And so we need to be praying first for our children. Secondly, we need to keep our anger in check. It's really easy to just, go off and, just let our anger out on our kids. But that's not going to be effective. That is not going to change their hearts. If we are just slandering them or saying harsh words at them, we need to deal with them gently, and we need to practice self-control. And so in order to have an effective timeout, basically what you need to do is to bring your child to where the timeout's going to be. You need to be in the same room with them, especially if they're little, and you say why they're in timeout. I am setting you in timeout right now because you threw your car, and throwing your car is not safe. It could hurt someone or break your toy. Now sit there and think about what you did wrong, because mommy's going to ask you. Then I walk away, and if they're 3 years old, set a timer for 3 minutes. If they're 4 years old, for 4 minutes. If they're 5 minutes, and so on. And if they are really little and they want to kind of come out of timeout, then I would just sit next to them, just close by, and just say, no, you need to stay right here. You need to stay right here. And you make sure that they learn to obey you, just staying first in the corner or in the timeout chair. But then secondly, once you have a child that knows to stay right there, like my children pretty quickly learned that, then you set them there and you say, now think about what you did wrong. And then you go about your business in the room, and you don't keep on going on and on, telling them what they did wrong. You just let them sit and think about it. Then when the timer goes off, I come back and I say, okay, tell mommy, what did you do wrong? Now my children are 5 and 7, so they know what they did wrong. And they say, I hit my sister, or I hit my brother. And then I ask them, why? Why does God think that is wrong? And they say, well, it's not kind, or it's not loving. And I say, that's right. What do you need to do? And I've trained them to apologize, and we always hug and kiss, and that's the end of it. Now, if you have a little one who isn't able to say what they did wrong, like a 3-year-old, you might say, what did you do wrong? And if they look at you with blank eyes, say, tell mommy you hit your brother. And then they'll say, I hit my brother. And then you would say back, why is God not pleased with that? Make sure they understand that it's not just mommy saying this is wrong. God says this is wrong. And so when you ask them, why is God not pleased with that? If they don't know the answer, again, you feed them the answer. You train them at the very little age of 3 and 4 that God says this is not kind. And so once they've answered you and you've talked through it and you've hugged and kissed and you free them to go on their way, it is very tempting to feel like it was not an effective timeout because 3 hours later, maybe the little boy hits the sister again. And you think, it's not working. I just put them in 2 different timeouts for the same thing, and it's still happening time and again. But the truth is, no matter how perfect you are of a parent, even God in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve loved them, was the perfect parent, and they chose to disobey him. And so we can be the most perfect parent doing everything right, and our children can still choose to do what is wrong. So persevere in disciplining and training your children. And don't feel that just because you've done it for the last 10 days, you've been disciplining your child and he's still not getting it, that it's something you're doing wrong. Persevere, stay consistent, and over time you will find progress. And a very wise woman once told me, Courtney, you're going for progress, not perfection. You will never have perfect children. Continue to work with them, love them. During that time when they're not in training, be teaching them to love each other, be talking to them about the ways of the Lord, be reading the Bible with them, praying for them, spending good quality time with them where they feel loved and secure. And in time, you will see a little flower blossom and bloom inside of them. Persevere, pray for them, and walk with the King.